Well, we're having an exciting time in politics, aren't we? Well, guess what? We've got a new Prime Minister about to start, Chris Hipkins, 44-year-old guy who's been around the block. And I've got a lot of good things to say about him, Vaughan, and I'll be really keen to know what you've got to say.
Yeah, well, and like you said, it seems like our whole political sphere disappeared nowhere. We'd heard nothing for over a month. What was going on? Who's running the country? Man, this week, talk about comeback and all guns blazing. And so, yes, let's talk about Chris. Congratulations, Chris Hipkins. And look, he was the only logical choice for that party. I called it yesterday with anything else would have been a disaster. And by the way, it looks like Carmel Sepulveda is the deputy, right? But Chris Hipkins, look, what I'm loving about the energy, he's on the steps of Parliament, he's talked to press. We're old news. We're probably the first to talk about it here on LinkedIn, and yet he's gone. He's back in there,
You've got to say that's impressive, Vaughan. He's head off. I mean, the public are yearning to hear from him, and I suspected, Vaughan, I would have predicted, it'll be a couple of days before we hear from him. No, he's right up front right now, and he said it, and he said some wonderful things. It was almost as if it was pre-prepared. But, he's already saying he's not prepared to pick the deputy yet. He reckons Grant can stay if he wants to, stay. And he's got a lot more things to say. What I like about Chris Hipkins is he's quite humble. He is prepared to say, and he's even admitted it in his speech, he's prepared to admit when he's wrong. And I like that. That'd be quite refreshing from what we've had in the last, 5-6 years. So I think he's is the best choice for Labor. And I tell you what, National, look out, because you've got some stiff competition now, and it's going to be one hell of a race this election.
Yeah, and so just, it's hilarious. When we post this up on LinkedIn, you know what's going to happen because we're being relatively positive about the appointment. You bloody wokey dokey communist, left-leaning, lovey boys, you can see what's going to happen. But anyway, settle down, guys, settle down. We're just calling it as we see it today. Two things that I just want to comment on, Max. Number one, the efficiency at which this happened. I can't remember in history when a prime minister has stepped down and a leader has been appointed, and in 48 hours, the caucus are all on the same page and they just have not mucked around. What that's actually done is sucked all the oxygen out of the room, because on the other side of the fence, the Blue Bus, their neighbours, National, they've been having a meeting. But who would know? Who would know that anything's going? So
do you know what, Vaughan? You've said it just right. The unity of this party and its organisation, and the fact that it's just collectively gone together. There's some big egos in the Labor Party, and look, they're all being put aside, and they're all supporting Hipkins. I mean, he said today that he really is humbled by that, and I think he ought to be. I think some of his colleagues have been very kind to him, and look, rightly so. He was the right choice, but you've got to admire them for their unity and the way they work together. That's fantastic. You look out, National. You really have got some
totally, Max. And the second thing that sticks out to me is that prior to the Prime Minister stepping down on Thursday, this party was all out for the count too. So to use the analogy of a heavyweight title fight, you've got the red boxer and the blue boxer, National and Labor, going at it. The red boxer was out on the canvas and being counted out for a complete knockout, 6, 7, 7.5, 7 3/4, and they get up off the canvas, right? Because what they've done is, like, seriously, anybody you talked on the streets, Labor is gone. You've got to look at this and say, oh, hang on a minute, they're back. So, hold the phone. And so what this is going to make is this election year is going to be value for money. I think the home straight and the 2-horse race, the blue horse, the red horse, it's not a foregone conclusion. It's looking like at the moment, it's a bit neck and neck.
It certainly is. Now, look, what Chris Hipkins does in the next few days or weeks, because he does not messing around. If he starts to change a few policies, and maybe the co-governance is a big one, I see already that he's made a statement that he really enjoys his 15 colleagues that are from a Maori caucus. And so that part of it he's warming towards, and he said he's looking forward to the future with them. So I don't know what's going to happen in that arena, but the whole of New Zealand will be watching on very closely.
Yeah. And just to close off on what you said there, Max, is exactly right. What Chris Hipkins has now is a honeymoon of, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4 days, not weeks, where what does it look like? Because was the Māori caucus running Labor? We've still got to get back to those old chestnuts. There are some turds in the punch bowl as far as the public are concerned. Hey Purpur, Three Waters, co-governance. He's still got some navigating to do. So this is what I mean in terms of, if this guy has got it, man, has he got some hurdles to go over. It's going to be grab your popcorn, pull up a seat. It's all on entertainment, Max.
It certainly is going to be exciting. Hey, Vaughan, thanks very much. And I loved your commentary, brother. You're going well. See you, brothers.
Appreciate it. See you again, Max.